I'm gonna be hopeful. Health, love, friendship, create art, motorcycles.
I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover.
I don't know, no, because if you're a lover, you gotta be a fighter.
How so?
Because if you don't fight for your love, what kind of love do you have?
Why has Hollywood turned its back on Keanu Reeves? Rumors are circulating in Tinseltown about a secret blacklist, a shocking attempt to sideline a star whose integrity challenges the status quo.
You have a great reputation, by the way, in Hollywood of being a very nice guy.
Despite his spotless reputation and undeniable on-screen charisma, powerful forces seem determined to see him fail. What could Keanu possibly possess that scares Hollywood's elite so much? Join us as we expose why Hollywood is so eager to kick Keanu out. The strange battles of Keanu Reeves in Tinseltown. Keanu's path in Hollywood has been nothing short of remarkable. For over 30 years, he has built a career that many actors can only dream of. Despite some people working against him, he has continued to succeed, bringing unforgettable characters to life and winning the hearts of audiences and fellow actors alike. His ability to stay true to himself in an industry often seen as fake says a lot about his character. As we take a closer look at his career and the obstacles he's faced, we see a man who isn't just a great actor, but a genuinely good person dealing with an industry that sometimes cares more about money than people. But that's not the worst of it. There's more to this story than just a few powerful people disliking him. You might think that this would make him a perfect fit for Hollywood, but ironically, it seems to be part of the problem. Maybe his authenticity is too real in a world that often prefers a polished image. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Despite all this, he keeps moving forward. He continues to take on roles that challenge him and that entertain millions of fans worldwide. So why would Hollywood want to turn its back on him now? But the questions don't stop there. Could it be that his down-to-earth nature threatens the status quo in Hollywood? Perhaps his realness is a mirror that reflects the industry's flaws, and some just don't like what they see. But what really makes him different isn't just his ability to draw big crowds to theaters. It's his character. In a world that can often be filled with ego, he stands out for his modesty, kindness, and warmth. His fans love him not just for the roles he plays on screen, but also for who he is when the cameras stop rolling. His early life wasn't easy. Born in Beirut in 1964, and when he was just 3 years old, his father left the family. This left him and his mother to fend for themselves. They moved around a lot, first to Sydney, then to New York, and finally to Toronto, more than most families do. As a child, he went to 4 different high schools in just 5 years. He struggled with dyslexia, making school even harder, and he wasn't well liked by his teachers. But even with these challenges, he found his love for acting, which would go on to define his incredible career. At just 9 years old, he took his first steps into the world of acting, performing on stage in local theaters. By 15, he already knew that acting was what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. At 17, he made a big decision. He left high school to follow his passion. By the time he was 20, he had moved to Los Angeles. Success didn't happen right away, but he slowly built his career by taking on small roles in different projects. One of his first jobs was on a Canadian sitcom called Hanging In. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. See how Keanu rises in Hollywood while facing tough times. Keanu Reeves' horrifying life. In 1986, his hard work paid off when he landed a role in River's Edge, a movie that got people talking about him. Not long after, Keanu became known for his cool, laid-back style in films like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. As the 90s rolled in, he moved on to bigger action roles in movies like Point Break and Speed, which made him a true action star. But his personal life wasn't easy. Around this time, his sister Kim was fighting leukemia, and he took on the role of her caregiver. He wanted to help others who were going through the same battle. He donated millions to support cancer research without making a big show of it, showing that his kindness went far beyond the screen. His life has been filled with more sadness than most people might realize. In 1993, his close friend, River Phoenix, died from a drug overdose, leaving him heartbroken. About 6 years later, just as he was becoming famous worldwide for The Matrix, he and his girlfriend, Jennifer Syme, experienced the devastating loss of their baby daughter at birth. But that wasn't the end of his heartbreak. Soon after, Jennifer tragically died in a car accident. Despite all this pain, he chose to keep moving forward. He didn't do it for fame or fortune, but stayed true to himself, showing resilience, kindness, and dignity in the face of personal suffering. This is confusing, especially considering his reputation as a humble, generous, and down-to-earth person. Hollywood, however, often values control and power over genuine character, and he refuses to play by those rules. But that's not the most surprising part. Matthew Perry, in his book, made an unexpected and harsh comment about him, wondering why he was still around when other talented actors like River Phoenix and Heath Ledger had passed away. Fans were outraged, showing their support for him online, which led Perry to apologize. Yet the question remained, why target him at all? Perry's comment isn't the only criticism he has faced. He's been dealing with hidden resentment from some parts of the industry for a long time. In a 2019 interview, he shared that Fox Studios blacklisted him after he refused to take part in Speed 2, a sequel that turned out to be heavily criticized. But this wasn't the worst part. This incident, along with others, shows just how tough it can be to stay true to yourself while navigating the tricky world of Hollywood. Being the thoughtful and honest person he is, he wanted no part in something he didn't believe in. But instead of respecting his choice, Fox decided to cut ties with him. Yes, they punished him for sticking to his principles. Sandra Bullock agreed to come back, but he saw disaster ahead. Just as he predicted, Speed 2 Inches was a flop, and he dodged a bullet. However, Fox held a grudge, keeping him out of their projects for over 10 years. His refusal to play by the typical Hollywood rules didn't stop there. He has always been clear about not allowing fake videos of himself in his contracts. While Hollywood is in love with its latest tech, he sees the dangers. He's okay with some computer effects here and there, but when they start replacing what an actor truly brings to the table, he draws the line. Keanu stands firm on his beliefs, even as his fame grows. Hollywood's lone wolf in the age of AI. He once shared a story from early in his career when a tear was added to his face, using special effects in a scene he hadn't actually cried in. That experience changed his view completely. From that moment, Keanu became determined not to be part of a future where technology takes away from real, honest acting. But his firm stance against fake videos didn't go over well with Hollywood big shots. They saw his resistance as a direct challenge to their control. And this isn't just about him standing up for himself. He's fighting for every actor who might one day be replaced by a computer-generated version. It's a bold move, and it has pushed him even further from Hollywood's power players. Yet, he doesn't care. He won't sacrifice his beliefs just to fit in. When it comes to AI-generated art and music, while some see it as the next big thing, he is doubtful. He worries about the bigger picture, how these technologies might impact our culture and society. He asks who's really in control of these creations, and whether they hold any real value. He imagines a future where art and culture are manipulated and controlled, and he's committed to speaking out against it. This kind of thinking doesn't win many friends in an industry obsessed with chasing the latest trends, especially when it questions the status quo. He has often been called difficult, stubborn, and a bit rebellious. But really, these words just mean that he doesn't let others control him. In a place like Hollywood, where everyone tries to fit in, being different can make you feel out of place. Still, he has always chosen to go his own way. Whether it's turning down a big paycheck for a sequel he doesn't believe in, or rejecting the idea that new technology should change the way acting is done, he's never been afraid to stand apart. Because of this strong sense of independence, the industry has often tried to push him to the side. But you can't ignore someone who doesn't need you. He isn't in it for the fame, the money, or people's approval. He's driven by his love for acting and plans to keep doing it his own way, no matter what Hollywood thinks. This is exactly why so many people love him. He is unique in Hollywood, not just because of his talent, but also because of how he stays private in a world that thrives on attention and luxury. While many celebrities showcase their fancy lifestyles on social media, he stays humble, showing that you can be famous without losing yourself. Even though he's one of the biggest stars in the world, he keeps his personal life very private. He doesn't chase the spotlight. Sure, he does interviews, goes to premieres and promotes his movies, but he's careful not to share too much. This quiet approach only adds to his charm. When he does step out in public, he is always attentive, thoughtful, and polite, yet he keeps a part of himself hidden. This mix of being visible but still reserved makes him even more fascinating to his fans. He is loved not just for his acting, but for how he lives his life. He doesn't chase fame or need approval from the movie industry. This has made him something of a legend on the internet. Through ups and downs, Keanu remains strong and genuine, a resilient soul. Take the well-known "Sad Keanu" meme, for example. It shows him sitting alone on a bench, eating a sandwich. When it went viral in 2010, people were amused, but many also saw a hint of his private struggles. Keanu has faced a lot of personal pain, and this has shaped who he is today, a side of him that many fans feel deeply connected to. Instead, he channeled his grief into his acting, especially in roles that required strong emotional depth, like his role as John Wick. The character of John Wick actually reflects a lot of what he has gone through in real life, the sadness and the strength to keep moving forward. Just like John Wick, he carries on, despite everything he's lost. In interviews, he often talks about how his personal experiences help him give better performances. His portrayal of John Wick shows how he draws on his real emotions, making the character feel real and relatable to the audience. But what really makes him stand out is how he handles tough situations. He never brags about his success or wealth. Instead, he's admired for his generosity and kindness in everyday life, rather than his celebrity status. Here's something most people don't know. He is one of the most charitable stars in Hollywood. He doesn't make a big deal about it, though. It's the people who've worked with him and seen his kindness firsthand who share these stories of his big-heartedness. Again and again, whether it's on movie sets or in random encounters, people keep sharing stories about his kindness. Each story shows just how much he genuinely cares about others. For instance, there was that time he surprised the stunt team from The Matrix with Harley-Davidson motorcycles, simply because he wanted to share the joy of riding with them. Then there's a story from a Reddit user who worked with him during the filming of Chain Reaction. He decided to provide breakfast and lunch for the entire crew every day during the final weeks of shooting. Think about it. Many big stars barely acknowledge their crew, let alone offer meals. But he goes out of his way to do exactly that. Another time, he gave a colleague a ride to a garage to pick up his car. It might sound like a small gesture, but it's rare to see a celebrity doing these everyday acts of kindness. These little moments help us see the real him, generous not just with his money, but also with his time, compassion, and attention. One well-known story of his kindness comes from 1997 when he was seen sitting on a sidewalk, sharing food and conversation with a homeless man. He has also given up millions of his own earnings to help keep jobs on movie sets secure. It's said he's given up to $125 million over the years. His generosity isn't just something to admire, it's truly extraordinary. While other top actors often focus on getting the biggest paychecks, he makes sure the people around him are looked after. And his kindness doesn't stop when the cameras aren't rolling. There's a story about him waiting in the rain to get into his own celebration party, refusing to use his status to jump the line. Even when he wasn't recognized by the club owner, he waited patiently, not asking for any special treatment. Off-screen, Keanu shows his true heroism through kindness, the silent generosity. But that wasn't the only surprise. These stories prove that Keanu's kindness on screen is not just acting, it's who he really is. There are so many of these touching stories that show what he's truly like. Keanu Reeves shows us that a Hollywood star can still be down to earth. His acts of kindness go far beyond just giving money. They're part of who he is, freely given to fans, co-workers, and even strangers. He isn't just a movie star, he's a real-life hero. But here's the kicker. These are just some of the stories. There are so many more out there, each one adding another layer to the legend of Keanu Reeves. Do you know what he does with his money? He quietly gives away a lot to children's hospitals and cancer research worldwide. Most people don't know this, because he doesn't talk about it. One of the most famous actors in the world, he runs a charity foundation in secret. For years, he has been making a big impact without looking for any praise. He prefers to let the charity's work speak for itself, showing his true character. On top of that, he often takes a pay cut on his movies to make them better. This could mean getting better co-stars, costumes, or special effects. For example, in The Devil's Advocate, he gave up a big part of his salary to make sure Al Pacino could be in the movie. He did something similar with the Matrix sequels, taking less pay so the film could have more amazing effects that audiences love. But that's not all. His generosity also shows in how dedicated he is to his work and his colleagues. His incredible acting keeps bringing people back to the theaters, and many are excited to see what he does next. So, what's coming up for him? He's lending his voice to Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is coming out in December 2024. Fans are excited to see how he brings this character to life. There's also talk of John Wick 5, but it's still not confirmed if he'll return as the legendary assassin. He will, however, make a guest appearance in the Ballerina spin-off starring Ana de Armas, set to release in 2025. But this isn't the most surprising part. He is also venturing into the world of comics with BRZRKR, a live-action movie based on his comic series. He'll play an immortal warrior working for the US government. Netflix is involved in this project, and there's even an anime series in the works. Then there's Constantine 2, a long-awaited sequel where he returns to a dark, supernatural role. And that's not all. He will star in Rally Car, playing a former NASCAR driver in a high-stakes race across China. In another Netflix film, Past Midnight, he will be a vigilante superhero. He's also working with Seth Rogen and Keke Palmer in Good Fortune, a comedy that started filming earlier this year. Finally, in Outcome, a dark comedy by Jonah Hill, he plays a blackmailed ex-Hollywood star, with the film set to be released on Apple TV+. What do you think of Keanu Reeves continuously switching genres? Is he exploring his range or losing his identity? Like, comment, and subscribe for more.